All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Big Brain MMA podcast, episode 8. Full UFC breakdown. I'm sure you'll be sick of me now. Two pods in 2 days. We've got our first guest on. Scrap Kappa, or I don't know what you prefer, mate.
Either or, mate. Whatever's easier for you.
Scrap Kappa. We'll go with Scrap Kappa. That's what he's a sharp dude. I've known from Discord and obviously a Twitterverse from New Zealand. So you want to tell us a bit about yourself, mate, or no? You can't be bothered.
A little bit, yeah. I guess I've been doing like the MMA gambling thing for a couple of years now. Be about 3 years, so not that long, but a little bit of time, I guess. Yeah, and do a bit of training in that myself. Used to be a shitty amateur fighter. Stopped fighting when I realized I wasn't that good at it and shouldn't be getting punched in the head. So now just, more of a jiu-jitsu guy, but still stay involved in a bit of the MMA stuff in a coaching capacity. But yeah, that's it really.
Very
Most
nice,
people
man.
probably know me for my angry rants on Twitter.
Yeah, the cynical opinions.
Yeah, that's me.
How long before you stopped gambling when you realized you're not good at that either?
I don't know, man. I probably never. That would require some self-awareness that I don't have.
Yeah, I'm just kidding, man. It's all good. All right, well, we'll do the whole card, man. We'll go fight by fight.
Sweet.
Daukaus versus Dolidze. I know you love Dolidze here. You got any thoughts on this one?
Line probably seems about right. I got some Daukaus money line at a better price. I got minus 175, I think. Yeah, I mean, Dolidze I just don't think is very good at anything. He can win fights if he's the stronger guy and he's able to just wall and stall you out pretty much just from the rear body lock, what he did to Staropoli, or if you're just a bit of a non-grappler like John Allen. Daukaus be a pretty tough matchup for him. I think Daukaus is more skilled everywhere. Should minute win standing, should theoretically minute win in the grappling. I mean, maybe Dolidze is able to hold him and body locks and some other positions. Perhaps Daukaus ends up on bottom. We have seen him be a little bit loose positionally, but man, I think the skill gap is just so big, and Dolidze's style is not one that we're seeing rewarded by the judges these days. So I just have a really hard time seeing him get much done against a guy who I just think is more skilled everywhere, really.
Yeah, I agree, man. I honestly don't know how Dolidze is 3-1 in the UFC. That's crazy. That he has a winning record. Just how much can you add? His low output. His jiu-jitsu is alright, I guess, but just dropping down for heel hooks and bullshit like that. It's obviously you can't play Daukaus at $1.44. You always get crazy lines, which is why I hate you. So it is what it is. But I got one of those lines. I got the double chance on Bet365, submission or decision, $2.10. I mean, I'm not the type to play those, but man, I'm getting plus money on Daukaus, who I think is most likely going to win. If he goes out here and knocks out Dolidze, I mean, I've only seen him rocked in that Giles fight, but I mean, Giles cracks people, man. He's got that jab, he's got that 1-2, and he still didn't finish him. So most likely, Daukaus just beats him. The only problem is I hate how he initiates the clinch in every single fight. When he's clearly got the better hands, against Brendan Allen, the crisp striking. Who else was it? A really bad German dude. Stoltz.
Yeah, Stoltzfus.
Yeah. He's piecing him up, and the guy's gassed, and he can get him out of there, and he just wants to grab him. He just wants to clinch him, and then his wrestling is bad, and he just does nothing with it. He just ends up clinching him for a while. It's like, man, you could put a stamp on these fights just by piecing these guys up, but you just really want to clinch for some reason. And I think Dolidze is a bit more physical. He could, reverse it, get a takedown, but that's, like you said, it's not going to get rewarded, Brendan Allen tried to do that, and he always ended up on bottom of Daukaus, and he got his back taken. So, and he literally only won that fight by hurting Daukaus twice in round 1-2. So I think you're right. You need some big moments here from Dolidze, but he's hittable, he's gassy. So, and I know you might be on the over like me as well, man. But something about it is like, oh, I don't want to keep that You know, it's kind of scaring me, but I think the play that I got on Daukaus is, I'm happy with that. Maybe I just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, like you said, I don't think there's any much risk of a KO standing, just because even if Daukaus does hit Dolidze standing, he's probably still going to try and initiate the clinch. You know, he's
100%.
not going to look to tee off on the feet. It's just so ingrained in him to always, you know, initiate grappling, even if he's hurting the guy standing. And on the ground, he's shown some like okay ground and pound, but you know, against guys who are pretty bad, like Stoltzfus, Dolidze's jiu-jitsu I don't rate at all, but I think it should be good enough where he's probably not going to get pounded out by Daukaus. And again, Daukaus' wrestling not great. Like you said, he's a real body lock guy, being so tall, he struggles to level change down to the legs. And that's kind of one thing that would steer me away from Daukaus at probably like worse than -200, is just because I can see them spending so much time in like body lock and clinch situations along the fence that I guess rounds could have the potential to be close. Even though Daukaus is so much better, he's going to go into Dolidze's wheelhouse where, you know, in those upper body clinch situations, I don't see him having like a massive advantage. So yeah, and with the over, I do think it's probably a bit of value, but the only like path to a finish I see hitting at any real clip is a Daukaus sub. And I'd be pretty annoyed if I like burned Daukaus moneyline profit on that over losing that way. So yeah, I'll just ride my Daukaus moneyline, I think.
I was thinking the same thing. Or I don't see Dolidze getting a jammy heel hook on someone like Daukaus. We've seen him defend it quite well against Brendan Allen. Allen loves going for legs. So, but yeah, let's move on, man. I think we're on the same page for once. Phil Hawes, Darren Winn. I think Hawes is another one of your favorites. What do you got here?
Yeah, in terms of the money line, pretty clear toggle pass for me. For me, pre-fight it's a pass. I'll be looking to potentially live bet. Winn Hawes, it's, you know, you just can't trust a guy like that at this price with his gas tank and his chin. Winn himself is not, you know, got elite cardio or a massive hitter or anything like that, but he's not the guy who's got the massive favorite price tag, right? The onus isn't on him to cover. My only action is just a little bit on Phil Hawes KO1. I think that's where a good chunk of his equity does lie, because if Winn comes to, you know, grapple consistently and he's willing to come forward and throw volume, then, you know, I think he's got a pretty good shot at coming into the fight down the back half. Yeah, so I'll be looking to live bet Winn. I mean, there, and because I can just see Hawes, if he gets off to his fast starts, you know, guys can get a bit spooked and a bit defensive, like we saw with Chris Curtis before he found the KO. That was pretty much the first strike he threw that landed and hurt Phil Hawes. So I could see Winn getting put on the back foot early and perhaps having to take a bit of a beating. And then you get a massive live number after round one that I'd be happy to take a swing on, you know, because Hawes is just not trustworthy. And then the other thing I like for this fight is the over. Even if Hawes does slow down, I'm not sure if I can see Winn finishing him at a real high clip, just because he's not much of a hitter. His hands are alright. He throws, you know, those short guy punches, the loopy shots, the overhands and the hooks and stuff. But I think when they're tired, they both sort of default to their wrestling, and I think it'll be more or less of a stalemate. And if one gets on top of the other, I don't expect either to really be able to finish. So I would think this goes over. Yeah, so I'd say that's where the betting lies. The betting value lies on the over and the Winn side, but I prefer to wait for a live bet. What about you?
Yeah. When I said I was going to be a juice monkey this week, I thought about Hawes in a parlay, but at first I was like, oh, there's no way I'm touching this price. And then when I taped it, I was like, man, Winn is so bad. It's like, the main thing here is you know, Hawes' chin, and it's Winn went through absolute war, just landed 100 strikes on Spicely's head, and he couldn't put him out. And I mean, I know Hawes is chinny, but I've seen him take bombs from Ismagulov and Daukaus and not even go down to his knees. He was just rocked on his feet, and then he clinches up. I don't even know if Winn can reach him. He's like 7 inches disadvantage in the reach. About Curtis said something about coming out with a game plan of just kind of letting a Hawes unload on him, and then I think he's just the guy with like over 30 fights. He's just very experienced. He's like, let Hawes hit me a bit, think that I'm hurt, and then just wait for his shots. Whereas if Hawes does that to win, I think it might just put him out, man. Like, I just struggle to see how he's going to win. Like, he's not going to hurt him. I mean, with that kind of power, he throws hard, but look at his forward. He can't really knock anyone out. And then, is he going to wrestle? I mean, his best chance is decision, I guess. If Hawes gets gassed, but I think, man, Hawes' wrestling is another level. He's just got that physicality. So I thought about it in the parlay, but even that $1.60 double chance KO or decision, if he sparks him in round one, I mean, you still get a little bit of value there, right? If he runs through him in about a minute, it's just a big step down in competition. I've been trying to fade a Hawes because I know what he's like. I lost money doing it against Daukaus. I lost money doing it against Ismagulov. I'm not going to fade him against Darren Vin. It's like, maybe he's better than we think. But yeah, other than just maybe going for like a round 1 KO. What is round 1 KO? It might be a decent price.
I got
and we've seen
425 or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'm on it now. I'll just have a quick look. And I've seen Winn get hurt by GM3, man. He's just, once he gasses, it's like he's a bit of a punching bag. He's a bit of a punch. Yeah. Probably the safest thing is probably going to be a pass, man. I'll finalize my bets tomorrow. I'll probably cash out all the stupid parlays and shit. It's not what I'm about. I just get carried away Monday, Tuesday, and then the clarity comes in, and then I finalize it. So probably a pass, and it's the second fight of the night instead of first, so I will have live bet. So
yeah,
Winn gets out of there somehow.
It's easy just to wait for live bet on this one, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to say, not get greedy, save your money, and then see a better option when the fight starts. Let's move on. This is the fight with all the value. You got anything here? I'm just gonna say I've got nothing here. So
nah. Like, yeah, no betting value to be had. I'm not interested in getting invested in ancient Eddie Wineland. What is he? 37 years old now, about to be 38 in like a week. Stamen, the guy who really can't finish, probably struggles to cover a price like this. But yeah, like how can you have any confidence in Eddie Wineland, getting it done for you, even if you do think the line is a little bit wide? I do think Stamen by decision is probably it, because guy just, his boxing's not bad, but he just doesn't really seem to carry any real pop. But then again, Wineland's always had really good takedown defense, so I wouldn't be surprised if it plays out on the feet, for most of the fight, because Wineland, that hands down style, though, like a massive detriment to his striking defense, really helps him with his takedown defense. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a striking fight, which looks closer than the line suggests. But yeah, just nothing for me here. Just pass.
Yeah. I see a lot of people saying they wouldn't be surprised if Stamen knocked out Wineland. Man, I'll be absolutely shocked if he did. It's just no power whatsoever. And I mean, I see people saying Castaneda's pillow fisted, but I think he's got underrated pop on his punches, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I had to tape his whole entire career just to get a read on him against Miles Johns. And I'm like, this guy can crack. He just chooses to go to decisions. He just doesn't really sit on his punches. But when he sat on his punches against Wineland and let off that combo, it was kind of like a barrage more than. And Stamen does like 1-2 shots, and I feel like Stamen's on a 3-fight losing streak, and he needs to win. His job depends on it, and as soon as he gets cracked by one of Wineland's bombs, Wineland's did hits hard, man. I went back to watch his Frankie signs, and he's the crazy Mexican dude. I forgot his name. The Weasel. Yeah, because that was the last time I saw some wrestling, and man, he can crack. He can crack. I don't think Stamen wants that, so he might stand up with him. He's got crazy durability, so yeah, value on Wineland, but it's like he's not going to knock out Stamen, and then he might even get outstruck. I saw Frankie hit him with a 1-2 because his just hands are so low, and yeah, I think you're just forcing everything. And if I'm going to play Stamen by KO, I want it to be $8, not barely plus money. I want it to be something astronomical.
Yeah, and by decision if I had to bet something.
Yeah, because that's probably the most likely thing. But even then, I've got a little cold feet because I'm like,
Yeah, 38-year-old bantamweight.
Yeah, I probably would have bet Castaneda by decision too, and then he got round 1 KO. So it's like, easy pass. It's not wasting any more time on this rubbish. It might be a good live bet there, if stops a few takedowns and people think, oh, Wyman's got a chance here, and the next minute he's just getting taken down and grinded on. All right, the Paula Olivera. What do you got here?
God, pass.
Pass, yeah.
Olivera in contention for like worst fighter on the roster, and then, but on the other side, Gloria de Paula minus 300, whatever she is, just like
value.
Yeah, I'm better spent elsewhere. I mean, if you like anything like the under that doesn't go to Paula ITP, it's gonna be a shit show Brazilian women's MMA fight, so good chance either of them finds themselves in some pretty terrible positions in any phase of the fight at some point, but just easy pass for me.
Yeah, same. I quickly looked at Olivera. I thought, maybe Daukaus, low women's MMA. I thought she looked a bit better against Ricci, but I think Ricci just disappointed there. Like, that's why I thought about Poliana against Ricci, because she was so disappointing. But yeah, Olivera has no power, man. If she's going to win, it's going to have to be a striking battle. And Paula just hits so much harder. She's got some good pop on her punches, and she might even finish her. I reckon Paula could get taken down. Her takedown defense is so bad. Olivera could get taken down. Yeah, just a shit show.
Yeah, so, I could see either of them either of them getting a random submission. I could see DePaula head kicking her. I could, just a shit show. This is a jungle fight.
Yeah. All right, Danny Chavez, Ricardo Ramos. I know you got some opinions on this one.
Yeah, Ramos is not a guy that I think can ever be lined a minus 300 in the UFC. He has looked better lately. Like I'll give him credit for that. Like since moving up to featherweight, I think he's looked better. But he's just got quite a few sort of attributes and stuff that I really like in certain fighters. Just a lot of times, if left to his own devices, he's just sitting on the outside doing those stupid Rabonas and stuff. And like he's got jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't have the most functional takedown game. He's got good back kicks. I'll give him that. He's good at getting to the back, and once he does get there, he's pretty good at keeping that position and threatening. But yeah, I just feel like the line's a little bit wide. Danny Chavez is not a fighter that I like very much either. Classic one-dimensional MMA masters fighter, just calf kick and not a whole lot else. But both these guys love low kicks, and they're both super susceptible to low kicks themselves. So I think, at a line of plus 250, and it was even higher in the last few days, I think Chavez in round one, in that feeling out process before Ramos really feels comfortable sort of working into range, if Chavez can get off a few big calf kicks, I think that, we'll see that line really tighten live pretty quick, and you probably have an opportunity to play Ramos at a better number and guarantee yourself some profit. Chavez has good first layer takedown defense, which I don't think is actually the best matchup against Ramos. Ramos isn't going to shoot on your hips, and where Chavez is pretty decent at digging the underhooks, he's more likely to just clinch you up in the body lock and try to shimmy around to the back. And I'm not sure Chavez has great takedown defense outside of his, relying on his hips and his athleticism and just digging underhooks. But that all things being said, I just think it's a bit wide. I don't think Ramos covers like just about a minus 300, almost like a 75% implied win probability. So it's just a bit of a value play on Chavez for me. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's pretty spot on, man. I agree with a lot of what you said. Like, even in my notes, I've got first layer, good first layer takedown defense. After taping it, I realized how shit Chavez was. But then it's like the same thing, he's going to have a good, somewhat decent round one, before he slows down. Ramos just really heavy on, like really wide stance, really heavy on it, on his front leg. I've seen him kind of check him against, I can't remember who I saw him check, maybe Kang or maybe Zabora. He lifted his leg up a few times, so he's kind of aware of it. But I saw like Journey Newson land 1 and he was wobbling around in round 3. And I was like, oh no, this is just flake city. The flakiness I'm getting from Ramos. And even the KO that he copped against Laurent Murphy, I was like, yeah, I'm sure Laurent can crack, but that was a bit worrying. You know, like one elbow and eyes roll back.
Yeah, he's got a bit of that vibe about him, eh? It's hard to articulate
100%.
or really put your finger on, but...
And the main thing is he never does feel comfortable in the stand-up. Like, in 3 rounds against Zubaira, he didn't get comfortable. He was just trying to go for takedowns, and he just got angry, bit down, and started throwing 1-2s. But it was Zubaira that had his timing down. And I mean, who's made Zubaira look that good in boxing over 3 rounds? Like, obviously Zubaira's improved, but and then Bill Algier fight. I can't believe I lost money on Bill Algier there. He was just, whenever there was standing, Algier was just picking him apart, and he looked really uncomfortable. But then just the worst takedown defense I've seen in my life.
Yeah, noodle Bill Algier takedown defense thing. Stupid.
Yeah, and it's like, and Ramos doesn't even have those kind of takedowns. But he's really good at getting to the back, and he has a really good body lock. Picks you up, slams you, and then jumps on your neck. Maybe you can get, Chavez with that. Chavez seems really strong and really good hips and really good at turning away and digging the underhooks. But other than that, like, I agree, man. We get like a slow fight, one calf kick, 2 calf kicks. I can even see Ramos eating one of those spinning wheel kicks that Chavez throws because he's so upright with his hands low. He's just so upright, and he thinks he's safe at a distance. And then he does that stupid shit with the Rabonos, and when he's losing, he just waits and waits and waits so he can throw that telegraphed spinning elbow. And I'm like, that's as long as he does 1 or 2 of those things and gets caught, that line is already value. And then maybe I can hedge it because I'm not overly confident on Chavez. But like you said, look at the line, man. It's a bit crazy. Even that Kamaka fight, I was like, oh, that's a big red flag to lose a 30-27 to Kamaka. I thought he was losing a 32. According to the media scores, it was going to be a 30-27 if he wasn't. The judges gave one round to Chavez, and I couldn't actually tell which round it was. And then when I went and checked, every judge gave him a different round. Like, one gave him round 1, one gave him round 3. So it was a close enough fight, and Kamaka's a lot more explosive and durable, and he's stupid, but he's not flaky. Like, he's durable as hell, and he mixed in takedowns, and he just chewed up that lead leg. Like, Chavez can't check legs for shit, man. It's crazy. But yeah, I agree with you, man. You have to have a little. I might just have 0.25 on Chavez, and try to get out of it as soon as possible. As soon as he starts to slow down, or Ramos starts.
I'm definitely looking to flip it off live ASAP because if you can guarantee yourself profit on this fight, then that's the angle.
Even what's his name, Faras's younger brother. That's the first time I try to. Older brother, sorry. That's the first time I tried to fade Ramos, Zahabi. And he took him down. Zahabi just got up, and he was just piecing him up in the boxing, and he was losing that fight until he landed that stupid spinning elbow. And
they're both a bit memey. They don't have really solid ideas or process. They just they're like, oh, let me try this head kick, let me try this Rabona, let me try this spinning elbow. And I could see this being a real staring match, to be honest.
Yeah, all I know is it's definitely Ramos is not someone I would put in a parlay. This is one, this is a crazy one. He's just, the guy's not. He's got potential, but he's got a long way to go. All right. What do we got next? All right, Wells caught McGee. I'll go first on this one. I just keep letting you go first. I see a lot of people on court. Obviously, the line has narrowed quite a bit. Used to be a dog, now is the favorite. I don't think I'm as confident as some of the others. I see people hammering, multiple units on him. Maybe I'm a bit of a court hater. I just can't get that Condit performance out of my head. I missed out on his silver line. I only played a little bit on him against Brahimaj because I just thought younger guy. I couldn't get out of my head how much Hannibal Silva was cracking him in round 3 when it was absolutely gassed. And then it's just like now this is a step up, man. This is Wells. I know Wells is not amazing, but he's a step up from Brahimaj, who's a flaky quitter, he was trying to quit on the stool. He was telling his coach, he's, I feel so strong. I can't handle his strength. And I'm like, dude, you got 2 more rounds. Like, you're already breaking to Court McGee at the end of round 1. But Court McGee does look juiced, man. He's I even went back to watch his Ponzinibbio KO loss, and he looks skinny, man. He looks like he has no muscle definition. It looks like a different weight class, but he's still at welterweight now, and he just looks jacked. So he's either on some good juices, or we just take his word for it, and he's actually started doing strength and conditioning finally. I just think Wells is going to struggle if he gets out of round 1. All his takedowns are body locks. He's a strong man. I mean, good luck out-muscling Court McGee. He might do some crazy shit. If you can just break him down in throwing crazy shit and landing a KO, or just a crazy takedown where he ends up on top, or he's really cautious and he just goes to a 3-round loss. It's weird. Against the Jesus fight, the 5-rounder on regionals, he tried 2 solid takedowns, didn't get him, and then for the next 25 minutes he attempted no more takedowns, and he just got outstruck to a decision, just circling on the outside. So he's a bit of a weird fighter. Like, even though Court is a bit old and he doesn't put a stamp on fights, that's why I didn't play him against Hannibal. I knew Hannibal was going to be aggressive. And if Court can do what he's been doing recently, he's kind of developed a bit of a good IQ as well. He's going for his own takedowns, knowing no one's going to sub him off their back. If he can take Wells down, Wells ended up on his back against Wally Alves and just couldn't get up. Just keep taking him down, stay on top, gas him out. Don't entertain the crazy hooks or any rubbish like that. He might lose round 1. Because Wells is at his most explosive and strongest there. He might be hard to outmuscle Wells. I don't think Wells is much stronger than someone like Ramiz and Hannibal. Got way better wrestling. He's got really good jiu-jitsu as well. But I think the line is accurate now. Court should be the slight favorite. Other than that, yeah, I got his early dog line, half a unit, and then I'm just being cautious, man. Again, I can't unload on Court McGee like everyone else. If I miss out on some money again, sure, but I think people are just underestimating Wells a little bit.
Yeah, I'd agree with most of that. I haven't got any action on the fight pre-fight, but I got a lot of stabs on like the Wells KO and KO1, because I do think that's where a lot of his equity lies. The guy fights a very energy intensive style, and Court McGee, I think, is probably going to be able to nullify a lot of what he does. If Wells can't catch him with one of those big shots on the feet, which I don't think is super likely. He's a bit messy. He tends to default to grappling more often than not, and if he's going to go in there and try to grapple with Court McGee, I think he's going to really, that's going to test his cardio a lot, because that's Court's wheelhouse. So I think, it's for me easy to wait for a Court live bet, because Wells probably has most success in round 1, but at some point I would think he starts to fade, whether it's from spazzing out on the feet and throwing these crazy, flurries, or whether they're tying up and grappling. Early on, I wouldn't expect either to have, a massive grappling edge, just because I think they're both pretty strong physical guys, both pretty technically sound in their grappling. But yeah, it's that cardio of Court that I think might let him pull away in the later parts of the fight. So I'll be waiting to sort of just live bet that. Court's looked really good lately, like physically and in terms of his skills and his game plan. I did lose on him versus Condit. I think getting hurt early in the fight really played a factor, because that was the only UFC fight I think he's had where he hasn't attempted a takedown.
How annoying is that?
I think it was just totally concussed.
With Condit's takedown defense.
Yeah. So after that, I think head kick or whatever it was, I think he was just totally concussed, to be honest. So I went back to the well against Silva and Ramiz, and that paid off. But yeah, Wells, just the physicality, the grappling sort of, he's a pretty good grappler in his own right. I think Court's win condition is kind of predicated on him being able to really make Wells work and gas him out, and then he might be able to start, consolidating some top position, which I think he might need, because even if Wells is tired, if he's throwing these like crazy hooks, even if he's slapping away on court guard. You know, some judges kind of value that in court, isn't necessarily blowing guys out of the water standing, and if you're in the clinch, it's going to be quite a grindy thing. So yeah, pretty easy for me to wait for the live bet here.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that Garcia fight was a really good comparison. Alex Garcia, just a juiced, big Cuban guy that has a lot of rear naked chokes. He got on Court's back a few times, and he just fell off. You know, you can't get Court's back. Court's really good at it. Fell off, and then I can see Wells getting to his back, falling off, and then off his back is a bit. I've even seen Wells get his back taken on regionals. You know, for a Gracie black belt, that's pretty concerning. You know, one minute he's on top, next minute someone's got his back in LFA. I can't remember what fight it was. I was like, how did you end up there? So yeah, I think it's still going to be a pretty close fight. That's why I don't think McGee's massive value at slight favorite. But yeah, like you said, I agree. He is fighting smarter. I think it's kind of like you see a lot of these veterans, they start to come into their own like later on. It's like the maturity, and they're like, all right, I don't have long to go. Let's start fighting smart. Let's start taking shit seriously. But yeah, we agree, man. I'll keep my half a unit just because, I mean, I got the dog odds, and then I can hedge a bit with KO, and then I'll just add more. I'll add more if live bet is looking good. All right. You got anything on this next women's fight?
No.
No.
The women's fights on this card.
Yeah,
tough.
we won't take too much time. Then this is the first one I taped. First thing I thought was, man, this Silva chick is tiny. She literally looks like a midget. And then I did it before this week because I wanted to get early lines, and I was like, okay, I'm not seeing any early odds that I like here, so I quickly skipped through. First thing I thought was armbar from guard. She keeps getting armbars. Jasmine's going to go for takedowns. And I said, that's all right. I don't think these lines are going to move. I'll retape it end of the week, and I haven't retaped it yet, honestly, so I didn't want to waste my time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, she's tiny. All her wins are guard armbars. You know, she maybe has a shot at minute winning at range just because she throws a lot of strikes, even though her technique's pretty rough. But, you know, Jasmine's just reliable to plow forward, get in the clinch, hit takedowns, use her size, muffle her around. So, yeah, most likely you'd think Silva's probably going to have to find a sub off her back here. And, you know, I like what I've seen out of Jasmine so far. You know, I think Kay's probably a tougher fight than Silva, if I'm honest. I think she's better standing. Jiu-jitsu is probably comparable, and Kay was able to kind of threaten with some of her own takedowns, where I don't think Silva's really going to be able to do that. So, line seems right enough to me. Don't really have an interest in betting, Brazilian armbar girl.
Yep, I agree. Yanez versus Kelly, what do you reckon?
Good fight, man. I think this is super wide. I do like Yanez, but I think he's just one of the most like overrated fighters in terms of the betting markets, like consistently. Just basically because he's a bit of he is a lot of a slow starter. His defense isn't all there. You know, you can tell he really trusts his boxing, so he'll get behind the high guard and stuff, but he's not actually trying to get out of the way of shots. He's happy to let guys hit him on the guard, and, you know, then you're sort of trusting judges to really be able to tell what's landing clean and what's not, which is always super risky. You know, Davey Grant was mostly slapping away on his shoulders and his guard, but one judge still gave the fight to Davey Grant, you know, so that's just something where I think Yanez is never really going to be able to dominate on the scorecards because the defense isn't all there. And Tony Kelly just does a lot of the things that, you know, you'd like to see someone do. If you're going out there fighting Adrian Yanez, he'll get in your face, he'll pump volume, he'll mix from distance striking into close range into the clinch, he'll throw in takedown attempts, attempt the grappling. He's durable, he's got cardio. So for me, the line's just crazy, and I just think it's a bit of a product of the Yanez hype. You know, everyone likes him because he's on Twitter, he's a cool guy, he talks with the fans, he's got really nice hands, you know, some sick knockouts, he hits the body really nicely and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's just super wide for me, you know. So I think the value is all with Tony Kelly on the money line. Tony Kelly by decision's a crazy number, you know. He's more of an attrition guy. He's not like a one hitter quitter kind of guy. And Yanez is super durable. So yeah, I think over goes the distance. Kelly money line, Kelly decision, all good.
Yeah. I pretty much agree with you there again, man. Um, only thing I the only thing I kind of disagree slightly is I think Yanez's defense is really good. I think that's why David Grant, he was mostly hitting on his back and his shoulders because he was good at rolling. Obviously, that Costa fight makes his defense look horrendous because he just kept hitting the jab, but Costa just spams that shit, man. His reach is so long. He was just in his face. And I think the bigger problem is, yes, Yanez doesn't get hit and he's landing all these jabs, but like you said, the judges don't see that. They're too stupid, you know? Like, all they see is the big shots that Davy Grant's landing on him, whether it's on his back or in his shoulders. And that's the problem. He's too one-dimensional. He's a boxer, and he's going to beat you in boxing. And if you're beating him in boxing, like if you're out-jabbing him like Costa, he's going to go back to his corner and go, how can I outbox this guy? He's not going to go for a takedown. He's not going to change it up. He's just – and if he can't outbox you, if he doesn't have a clear advantage like against Davy Grant, it's just going to be a close split decision because it's just a 3-round boxing match. And Yanez is too busy, you know, parrying and ducking and looking slick. You know, meanwhile, Grant is just kicking him, you know, kicking the shit out of him, just throwing, you know. Don't worry about looking good. He's just throwing. And all the judges will just, man, I want to give it to Yanez because he jabbed him a few times, but he just got hit 17,000 times, you know, and that's what Kelly does. Kelly's a wild man. Honestly, I heard a few people say, after tape, I don't like what I saw from Kelly. And I was like, damn, I was really hoping I would like him as a dog. But I like what I saw, man. I thought he's the people are saying he's hittable, but I thought he chose to be hittable against Costa because he needed to. He said, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to pressure him, I'm going to finish him. He's a smart guy, and he took that maybe not a smart guy, I'll take that back. I just straight away realized what I said. Realized I was talking about Tony Kelly there. He took that Kai Kamaka fight on 6 days' notice, and that's the only time I've seen him hurt. He got hurt by body shots, and he was gassing out, and I'm like, this is done, you know. How does this guy come back from this? 2 more rounds to go. And then he just turned it on and gassed out Kamaka in round 2 with body shots, knees, elbows. He's got really good clinch striking. And he was about to win that fight in round 3, and then he pulled that guillotine. And he said in interviews, he goes, I will never pull the guillotine again. I've lost sleep over that decision. So he's learning from his mistakes. And what was that? Oh, yeah. I watched his LFA war with Aguilar, the 5-round fight. Man, that was prime Aguilar that was sparking everyone. And he was eating bombs, man. Like, he was eating bombs. He was mixing in takedowns. I think his chin's going to hold up. Honestly, like, if his chin holds up, then there's got to be value. Like, Yanez, what is he going to – Yanez going to 30-27 him in a close striking battle? I don't see it. And
no, I think if he comes with the Randy Costa game plan, you know, he's super live to win this. You know, Yanez does kind of need some time to make his reads and needs to fight at a certain range, you know. And if he's going to split with Davy Grant, I think Kelly is just does a lot of things better than Davy Grant, you know. Like you said about Yanez's defense, he defended most of the shots because Davy Grant throws everything wide. The guy's never thrown like a straight punch in his life, you know. So it's easy to catch all of Davy Grant's shots on your gloves and your shoulders, but Tony Kelly will throw straight down the pipe, you know. He'll mix clinch strikes and he goes to the body really well, which is, you know, something that'll work against Yanez with that high guard. So yeah, for me the line's just crazy, and it's just a product of Yanez being someone who's like really loved by fans in the market.
Yeah, and that over, I played it this morning, and I've just liked it more and more as today's going on. It's one of my favorite plays. Like, I pick him to go over 2.5. I mean, who do they think here is live for a finish? It has to be Yanez because he's such a big favorite. But I mean, like Geezer just said, Kelly's never been knocked out. And I know it's the first for everything, but I don't see someone as jab oriented and, you know, death by 1,000 cuts, Yanez being someone that's going to finish Kelly, even if he is hittable, you know. Like that, literally that Aguilar fight, man, he's getting wobbled in round 4, he's gassed, and he comes out round 5 and he just pours it on. He's just got heart for days, durability for days. There's no quit in him. He's going to fight for your money. But yeah, I think that I played start round 3 and it's still like $1.70, you know, just insane value. I think chinny fighters like Gustavo Lopez got into round 3 against Yanez. Yanez had him on a platter there, and he just let him trickle into round 3. You know, he was waiting for that perfect counter shot.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with everything.
split decision with Kyle Estrada, who's fucking pretty terrible.
Yeah, he seems to be vulnerable to kicks. Like when people are kicking him from a distance, he just blocks it, and then comes forward. They kick again, he blocks it, comes forward. Kind of like what David Grant was doing. Every time he comes forward, he would throw a hook at him, and it's like, yeah, man, you're blocking everything, but you're eating all this volume. And yeah, we agree, man. Everything. It's just, how much do I want to double dip with a decision and money line, or do I just? I feel like I should probably be safe and just have a little sprinkle on decision, and it's one of those favorite heavy cards and I'm going to get absolutely destroyed. But maybe just keep it disciplined. And live bet would be good again. I reckon this line is going to get narrow really quick. Yanez was an underdog against Costa in round 2, so.
Yeah, and that's with Costa being a notorious gasser and round 1 or bust guy.
Yeah, the bookies really didn't take that into consideration. They let that one slip. By the way, Kelly was a beautiful player against Costa. It was plus money there, and then the under was a good play too.
Yeah. All
right, Marquez Robocop. I've been going back and forth on this one a bit.
So this one, yeah. Marquez kind of meme or bust, or Robocop F-gas or bust, pretty much. Robocop better everywhere. Like, skill disparity is huge, but the chin is a bit sus, the gas tank is a bit sus, and Marquez is that exact kind of guy who will hang around, an absolute shit kicking until you get tired or sloppy and make a mistake and then meme you, Maki Patolo fight, the guy is a terrible minute winner, and I think that's kind of exacerbated by the fact that he's with James Krause, and you can see James Krause is trying to make him this like technical, prototypical glory fighter, and that's just completely against type for Marquez. He doesn't know how to do those things. He just needs to get in there and swing and create chaos and look for those opportunistic subs when he hurts guys, So I got Robocop earlier line, I think I got a minus 140 or somewhere around that. I think it really takes probably at least 7 minutes before Marquez really comes into the fight, unless he's just, finding that big shot out of nowhere. I expect him to get outclassed minutes-wise up until Robocop gasses, which fingers crossed he doesn't, but you never know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm very low on Marquez. I don't think he's a good fighter at all. Skills-wise, I think Robocop's one of the best guys in the division, but yeah, the chin and the cardio are both a little sus.
Yeah, I agree, man. At first I thought the line was a bit wide, when the initial minus 200 on Robocop, and then as I'm taping it, it's like, yeah, man, there's so many advantages here. And when you look at it, a lot of Marquez's finishes are actually submissions, right? He doesn't have one punch KO power. He's just a brute with heavy hands. But he didn't hurt. Or maybe he hurt Patolo a couple of times near the end, but that was a gas Patolo. It was more like the pressure was pouring it on. And I mean, who else has he knocked out? I mean, Darren Stewart. Darren Stewart. That was a messy fight as well. Got the choke. He couldn't really hurt the Chirico. So I don't think his power is that great. I mean, he hurt Aldi and then choked him out again.
Yeah, it's like you said, he's just a brutish, heavy-handed clubbing kind of guy, but he struggles to create KO opportunities because he's not very good. He's not fast. He's just and it's a brutish guy.
It's all looping hooks. But then my concern was, I'm like, I'm still forcing it here at minus 200. There's enough red flags there to not play it, but. Then you tape, and I played Armin against Petrosian. I thought it was a very close fight, and people are shitting on Robocop. They're saying, "Oh, bad IQ. He didn't go for takedowns early." I thought that was a good game plan because I wanted him to go for a takedown and not get the submission and gas out, and then Armin knock him out like everyone else.
Yeah,
literally, you watch his last 5 fights against really good Russian fighters, and no one can keep him down. And I'm like, Robocop's going to fall in that same trap. And he's just standing with him, and his stand-up looked improved again, even though it was already good. And I'm just like, oh, this guy's so technical, man. He's standing up with this kickboxer that's a lot faster than him, a lot cleaner, and he's backing him up and he's landing on him. And now I'm nervous. I'm like, oh, he maybe won that round with stand up alone, and he's still got the cardio to wrestle in round 2 and 3. I was like, oh no, he actually came out smart. And then he didn't wrestle in round 2 either and lost clear. And then round 3, he comes hard and just drops Armin with like, he throws bombs, man, and he dropped him with a head kick and almost submitted him. And it's like, oh, his striking is just so much more advanced. The distance management, the 1-2, it's sharp. It's all sharp stuff. It's no brawling in there. And he got hurt by Iron Till, which, let's just say Iron Till doesn't hit hard. I mean, if we think Marquez doesn't hit hard, neither does Iron Till. But hey, he didn't get put out. He's just very, he's gassy and he's hittable. But I think you need a big shot to put out Robocop. But then again, it's like I could see that. I could see him getting stuck against the cage like Iron Turtle, and then Marquez just clubbing him left, right, and just like Jordan Williams. So yeah, I just thought, man, there's just so many advantages. So many advantages here. I could even see him knocking out Marquez. He's already knocked out Iron Turtle, who's just insane durability just by timing his shots. You know, just hits him and then just hits the uppercut, which is the kill shot. There's no brawling. He just picks a shot.
His boxing is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy's not even 30 years old, man. He's still improving. You can see he's every single UFC fight.
He's serious? 30 years. What the fuck?
Yeah.
This dude looks fucking 47.
Barack Obama, mate. Yeah, it's the biggest.
That's wild. I can't believe that.
He just turned 30. Yeah.
Jesus.
No, the dude's improving, man. He was already good. So he's just like, live bet might be a good spot here. You know, if Marquez survives. And then you see him just keep coming, but yeah, I keep going back and forth. I can't. Maybe if it keeps, the money seems to be coming in on Marquez. Maybe they're gonna force my hand, you know, with a much better fighter, and I just hit it. Maybe I got a line as close to yours.
Yeah, I think the line movement was pretty sharp, and because you push it to that price where it just gets a bit too much juice to pay on a guy with the red flags that Robocop has, even though he is clearly the better fighter. I was happy to pay the price I did, but yeah, minus 200, that's getting a bit steep.
Yeah, and I faded him against Dushko, and I faded him against Armin, but I also played a little bit I lost some of my profits on Armin KO, and he did wobble him, but it's, we've seen how many people has Armin KO'd, he lands a head kick, lands a 1-2, and he just couldn't finish Gregory because Gregory was mixing in takedowns. I think it's going to be even the unders. I can't hit the unders. I could see a war back and forth, and Gregory going for takedowns when Marquez corners him. I mean, every single time Marquez cornered Chirico, he got taken down. It's like, man, you got to work on that takedown defense. It's horrendous. It's like negative, but yeah, at the moment it's just a pass for me. I'm going to watch this. It's going to be a sick fight. So don't want to force everything. This is a great fight, man. Guram.
Yes. Speaking of 6-5,
I reckon one of these guys is going to get a ranking. Whoever wins.
They should. They should. It's got to be the two best unranked lightweights, right?
Yeah, I mean, Kutulaitis is going to have a number 12 Gamrot and Ismagulov in his last 2 wins. He's going to get at least a 15 ranking. And Ismagulov's already beat 4 guys, even though most of them are jobbers. Yeah, I've got a bit of a play on Guram as an underdog. I'm surprised the money hasn't come in more on him. Instead, it's gone back on Ismagulov. I have to retape it because this is the one I did early in the week, and I had some questions. By the end of the tape, I was like, okay, there might be value, but I think Damir still wins with just the more straightforward approach of volume and 1-2 and staying safe and mixing in takedowns. I thought Guram is kind of like relying on big things like dropping, like head kicks, spinning elbows, power shots. But I mean, he's so reliable, man, to get him. Like, I've been watching all this tape. He just hurts everyone. And even Gamrot landed a big overhand right. He's really good counters. And Damir is not going to shoot as much as Gamrot. Like, that guy just shoots over and over and over again. Damir might go for 1 or twice. And I thought upon taping it again, I thought Ismagulov was a bit overrated. I remember him being much better. He just, Alex Georges, you might know Alex Georges, absolute bum from the Australian regionals. And he couldn't hold that guy down, man. He couldn't hold that guy down. The guy just kept getting up and just pressuring him. And I was like, that's not a good look, man. And then Moises' fight, he actually got cracked by Moises in that one. Moises is really bad at backing up. Someone like Moises is going to get backed up by Damir's 1-2. He's just, and same as Alvarez. That was before Alvarez improved his stand-up and started just throwing everything 100% and then making people take him down. He was just stuck like a deer in headlights. But Guram, if you're going to try that with him, like the 1-2, and keep him on the outside, he's going to be eating leg kicks and head kicks, right? And then as soon as you stun Ismagulov, he's going to go for a takedown, and I think he's going to struggle. I've seen some pretty average takedown attempts from him, and stuff that I don't remember when I initially watched it. So I'm glad I taped it, but I'm going to retape it again, get a better idea, maybe tomorrow before I finalize my bets. But at the moment, yeah, I think Guram did really well to stand up against Gamrot. He can slow down a bit, and I think that round 3 was the clearest round that he lost. And I've seen him on regionals kind of slow down and huff and puff when people push the pace. But yeah, I think that there's a bit of value on him. I don't know how much credence that last fight for Damir is against Alves. That it looked kind of washed. I think he got cracked early, and then just had to work his way back into the fight. Seeing Alves is not a bad fighter, man. He just ran through the KC as well. I think his flakiness from the regionals is still plaguing him. People still think he's really, really flaky, but which I'm sure he does.
He's just a wild card, man. He's just a total wild card, that guy.
Yeah, he's wild, but then he also kind of gives up on himself in round 2 and 3. Which
he's a front runner.
Even Bisman was pulling his hair out. He's like, he can't go for that guillotine again if you want to stop that takedown. And then he stopped. And then when Damir had him in turtle, he did that little spinneroonie.
The breakdowns get up.
Yeah, back to his feet. So that was just like, okay, I thought that was just him, but everyone gets up against Ismagulov. So he'll get takedowns. Guram will stand up. He might land the bigger shots for 3 rounds. And Texas judges, man, they love that damage over anything else. So at the moment, I've got the dog shot. Nothing big. I'm not 100% confident about it. Like Giza says here, like I'm scared about the layoff. I know at least one of the reasons it was some visa issues, but I know one of the reasons was a new injury for Guram. So a guy that was already kind of, not gassy, but I see some slowing down in him in fights. Maybe I just leave it off, but we'll see. I'll have half a unit minimum. I think you have to hit him at dog odds. I just think Damir is a bit overrated.
Yeah, man. I agree with pretty much everything you said. I'm on Guram as well. He's actually one of my favorite plays for the cars. When I saw the lines come out, I was pretty surprised there hasn't been more movement because that win over Gamrot was pretty huge at the time. Everyone was hyping him up as next big thing, big prospect, trains with Hamzat and whatnot. But yeah, in terms of the fight, like you said, Damir, he's a good fighter, but again, he just doesn't do enough. He leaves a lot on the table. He doesn't put a huge stamp on fights. He doesn't bring much finishing at upside. If you're not finishing the likes of Georges, then shit, who are you finishing in the UFC? Back in the M1 days, he was actually like a real wrestler. You saw him wrestle a lot in M1 against pretty bad competition. M1's pretty low level compared to ACA. And we've seen him do a bit of it in the UFC, mainly against Alves as like a safety valve. But yeah, I like Damir as a fighter, but I think he's a bit overrated. Georges, bum, as you say. Alvarez, bum, but now he's a bum who's realized that he's fucking massive and can just kill guys with aggression and spamming strikes. Thiago Moises is exactly the kind of guy who's going to just let you jab him and back himself onto the fence, Yeah. And then, we saw against Alves, I do cut him some slack for that fight just because I believe he stayed at home for that camp. He normally does his camps at Tiger, and he's done this one at like a mix of Tiger and ATT. But he stayed home for that camp, and I think that might be a bit of a reason why we saw him look pretty poor, like definitely the worst we've seen him in the UFC. He's only 31, so I don't really have any reason to suspect he's washed. So I would expect him to look better in this fight than he did against Alves. But yeah, like you said, he's just so reliant on the jab. He'll put the two behind it sometimes, but I just think in what is most likely going to play out as a striking match, just because I don't see Demir being able to take down or hold down Guram. I just favour like the more eye-catching work of Guram, the big kicks, more damaging strikes. I do think this goes to decision, but Guram has better optics. He fights more aggressively. He's trying to do more damage with his strikes, even when those kicks land on the guard or don't cleanly find the target. They still score. We know the judges value that, and I just think that's going to be enough for him to take a competitive but hopefully clear decision over Demir. Demir's also going to, when we start at range, Guram's going to be able to kick Demir before Demir can jab him. So Demir's going to be forced to kind of take initiative and work into that boxing range, and he's going to have to be, eating kicks to do that. So yeah, I just think Guram just kind of outworks him and does the better work that the judges sort of will favour over the course of the fight. I do think it goes to decision at a pretty high clip, though.
Yeah, me too. And if you're gonna play Demir, I think you gotta play him by decision, man. He's just very risk averse. Like he's hasn't finished some of the bums so far. He just wants to win, get a win.
He's not interested in finishing either.
Yeah, probably why he's not ranked, to be honest. All right, let's move on. What do we got next?
Buckley Duraev.
Buckley Duraev. You got any thoughts on this?
Yeah. This is a pretty interesting fight. Seems to be pretty. I guess if you want to say binary, that might be a bit reductive. But Duraev made his debut against Kopylov. I was super underwhelmed personally. I thought he showed some good things, but also some massive red flags that would definitely steer me away from him at price tags of like -200 and worse. He's aggressive on the feet. He throws hard, but he is just completely there to be hit. He's got no defense at all. He doesn't move an inch when he starts exchanging in the pocket. He's all offense, no defense. His grappling game is really nice. I'll give him that. He's got that Dagestani style. He'll ride the leg, tie you up, force you into those like crossbody ride positions against the cage. But for me, the line's just a bit wide, especially now that it's really blowing out. Buckley's gone out past like a +200 underdog now. Clear dog or pass spot for me. I'm on Buckley because, I do think his takedown defense probably holds up reasonably well unless he starts to slow down, and Duraev slowed down big time himself against Kopylov. So I like Buckley in the over here. I think standing, Buckley does the better work just because he moves his head. He knows how to string combinations together. He knows how to use angles. He's more dynamic. He'll hit the head, body, and the legs. Southpaw, which, a few of the southpaw tricks that Kopylov was using were giving Duraev some headaches. But obviously, if Duraev is able to consistently hit takedowns, then that's probably going to be an issue for Buckley. But I just think from what I have seen of his takedown defense, which admittedly is not much, obviously the Logan Storley fight, big red flag, but I don't think Duraev's takedowns are as good as Storley's, although his top game is much better. We've only really got the Razak fight to go off. But I just feel like there's probably a bit of runway here before Duraev really starts being able to grapple super consistently. So I anticipate, hopefully, being able to bail out of there live if Buckley starts slowing down, or for Duraev to get the grappling going. Whilst I feel like Buckley is pretty live to land the KO just because Duraev's extremely hittable, has been hurt. Like, we haven't really seen Kopylov hurt anyone in the UFC at least. So yeah, clear side for me. I think the over is actually not bad, to be honest. Buckley, I think Buckley KO is probably the most likely way it finishes under 7 minutes. But yeah, for me, he's the clear betting side here. What do you have?
I don't have nothing, man. I kind of don't want anything to do with this fight. I would agree initially that probably is a bit binary. Yeah, it's just I've got both are giving me flaky vibes. I mean, I know for a fact that Buckley's flaky. I know when That's why I played the Chirico KO small back start of the year last year. Yeah, he's just chinny, and he ducks his head and rushes into the pocket. And even Arroyo hurt him with a knee. And yeah, this Duraev is also, I mean, he's been knocked out in 3 of his losses in the first round, and by Ramazan Emeev of all people, which is a big red flag. But then, you think, oh, maybe that's a thing of the past. And then you watch, Kopylov drop him on his face. And it's like, all right, this guy he's absolutely gassed. He's absolutely gassed. But then I think he was a bit unlucky not to stop that fight in round 2. Just the beating he landed on Kopylov in mount. His ground and pound was pretty average though, like just throwing for the sake of throwing and missing, and just gassing himself out like an idiot. But I think Buckley will put up a bit of a fight. He's like, even in the Stolly fight, he did you could see that it wasn't easy to take down initially. He puts up a fight. He's explosive, he's strong. Especially with someone like Duraev, who muscles things to the ground, and they tie up their opponents. Wrap the legs. Like you said, it's not the same technique as an explosive double like on Stolly, who shoots in deep and turns the corner. But then I could see Buckley cracking him. I also don't like how Duraev just strikes until things start going wrong, and then he goes for a takedown. That's like, come on, man, like,
he's one of those guys who has to be half dead before he shoots a lot of the time.
Yeah, he's cocky about it. He's like, let's go, I'm about to smash you. And then he gets cracked, and he's like, oh, maybe not. Maybe I'll just grapple. And even in his Contender Series, he ate from that Bittencourt Brazilian dude. He had like 3 calf kicks in a row and just missed the big bomb as he was falling down, like the MVP Lima scenario. And he's like, fuck this. And he just went for a takedown. And that's how I feel like that could happen at any moment. He even struggled to take Kopylov down. I know Kopylov grabbed the fence. And that round 1, I think I had Duraev in a parlay. I was forcing it. I just needed to parlay someone up with Zaleski over Benoit, because I was like, this guy's going to kill Benoit. Just give me one more parlay piece. And I think I just picked, I'm like, it's all right. Duraev's fighting a low output kickboxer. Yeah, he should be all right. And I was like, I have no idea who won. They were just standing up for 5 minutes. And I was like, what? And then obviously he killed him in round 2. Not good. Yeah, he killed him in round 2, but it's like he lost round 3, and I'm like, if I lose this parlay because you chose to strike for 5 minutes with a kickboxer. So it's like one guy is untrustworthy, obviously, with the juice line. He can stand up. Buckley can crack him. He might even get Buckley down. Buckley can explode up because he's so hard to hold down initially early. Maybe he won't. And then I can see, because like you said, Duraev is so strong on top, and he actually has really good back takes in a rear naked choke. I can just see, one takedown, and Buckley gasses out from being so aggressive and from all the explosions, and then just gives his neck. Or because he's chinny, even gets ground and pounded out. It's just, I can't time the over. I can't time the under. Yeah, very volatile, and I hate chucking my money in a volatile fight where you never know if you're going to get it back or if it's just going to disappear in 30 seconds. So yeah, it's gonna be a car crash of a fight, so I'll enjoy it. But yeah, I don't want my money on it. Maybe we'll see how Duraev looks. Maybe he's slightly smarter. If he still fights like an idiot, then there's no helping him. Like after that last fight, you would think he would learn a lesson or two. But we'll see, man. I'm excited about the fight at least. All right, Tim Means, Kevin Holland. I'll go first on this one. I'm just tossing between putting a quarter unit on Tim Means by decision. All right, it's just as you're taping it, and he's just getting cracked by every single person in the world. Getting cracked by Alves when his job was on the line, retiring Alves. He just plods into the pocket. He's got long. He's a southpaw striker. He's got long punches, great crisp jab, 1-2. But he just plods into the pocket, He just plods, high guard, and he's willing to eat it on the head so he can counter with his crisp, counter. And Alves cracked him. He took him down, got a guillotine. He says, I needed a finish there to keep my job. And then he got beat by, Rodriguez, who was making him wobble all around the place. I think he's just a bit of a step down in competition that's got him on the 3-fight winning streak. Like Mike Perry, he survived one takedown attempt. After that, he just jabbed him up. Even then, man, round 3, he started to sling with Perry, and I was like, come on, man, you got so much reach, and you're choosing to eat bombs here against the gas Perry in round 3. Staropoli, he just wrestled and did what he had to do. And I liked how he just started wrestling Dalby like straight away, right from the get-go. I think he's pretty reliable to wrestle Holland here. Like if you want to play him by decision, you like what you see on tape, right? He's not going to brawl with him, but he's just that he's still hittable. Even in those matches, he got cracked hard by Dalby in round 3, and Dalby couldn't bust a grape, man. He's a karate guy. Just blitzes him with like karate 1-2s, and he has. He got cracked hard, and then he just went back to the grappling. I think Holland at welterweight is not going to be super easy to control. It's got like Holland has like 7 inches of reach on means. He's not going to have that long striking advantage like he has against some of his previous opponents. When Holland sits down and throws a 1-2, man, that he hits pretty hard. He did it. He dropped Olivera and finished him. Olivera kind of quit in there after he got dropped. He's getting ground pounded on the guard and just didn't move, didn't improve his position. And but who was that? I was kind of impressed with his. He showed some improved takedown defense against Vittori, and even in round 5, man, he landed a big 1-2, which any other person than Vittori would have dropped him on their ass. But that guy can just eat the biggest bombs in the world. I just feel like for 3 rounds, Means is just always on the edge of just getting sparked, with a 1-2. But yeah, I mean, after watching that Daukaus fight with Holland, and before the headbutt, they were standing in the center, and Daukaus was kind of lighting him up, even if it was for like 5 seconds, with the crisper boxing. And I was like, I just envisioned Means doing that, with the 1-2 in the center of the octagon and just kind of dodging all the big wild hooks. And I was like, oh, maybe he can outbox Holland and mix in some takedowns, and maybe he gets hurt, but he will just, survive by going to the wrestling. I haven't played it, but I mean, there's no rush. The line is still getting crazier, and the decision line is still improving.
Yeah, people love to parlay Holland.
Oh, mate, I've learned the hard way. I remember when I really, really wanted to parlay Holland against Stewart because Stewart is such a flake and a bum, and then I didn't. And watching that fight, I'm like, thank God I didn't. And every time I go to do it, I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's going to knock out Means. I got 3 rounds for a knockout. Let's just parlay it. I just think of that fight. But he kind of fell apart in that fight. He had knee braces on. But he's just, you don't know what you're going to get with Holland, man. Even that round 1 against Oliveira, he got hurt, he got dropped, he got his back taken. It's just, you shouldn't overthink it. You can't play him. Yeah, he might get a KO, but you got a guy in Means that it's kind of like Colt McGee. He's turned things around and he knows what he has to do to win. And he stopped having those crazy wars. And if he has to clinch for 3 rounds, he's going to do it. So maybe just, I'll see how my night's going, man. If I'm getting fucking burnt from all my underdog picks, I'm not gonna throw another 0.2 units of Means and watch him get sparked. But if I'm doing all right, I'm hitting it, man. I'm hitting it, and fuck it. If he gets sparked, he gets sparked. But there's too much value. There's too much value there. What about you?
Yeah, same feelings, man. Tim Means money line and by decision. Full disclosure, I love Tim Means. He's one of my favorite fighters. I love to watch him. And yeah, I think he's just got a real good shot at being the better fighter just about everywhere. I mean, both guys generally rely on their length, and although Holland is still going to be, a fair bit bigger in there, I just think Means is crafty enough to, navigate that. Holland just, he really relies on his speed and just being able to shoot those straight shots down the pipe, catch guys off guard. Shout out Geezer, fellow Dirty Bird appreciator. But yeah, like you said, Means he's a crafty, he's a veteran. If he has to wrestle for 3 rounds to get this done, that's what he's going to do. Before his last few fights, in interviews and stuff, he said how he's really got back to like his wrestling roots and stuff. I think he's like coaching the local high school or something, but he's really gone back to wrestling in terms of coaching and training. And we've seen it in his last few fights. It's paid off. Holland, although some of his takedown defenses improved, I I think if you shoot on the guy's hips and connect your hands, you're still taking him down. He's still so skinny. He's gotten better at defending the body locks and stuff, the upper body stuff that Vittoria and that were trying to do to him. But I think if Tim Means connects his hands on the double, I think he's still taking Kevin Holland down. Haven't seen any real evidence to show that Kevin Holland's get-ups have improved, so one takedown could still easily be around here. Yeah, and Tim Means just does a lot of good stuff, you know, crafty southpaw. He knows how to hand fight. The only real concern is, as you said, he's kind of constantly at risk of getting chinned just as a product of his style, because he's happy to kind of be there in the pocket to get his own offense going. And Holland does crack, you know, he's got really snappy power in his punches with those lanky arms. So, you know, but does that warrant like this line for me? Absolutely not. You know, I think it's way too wide. That being said, this is the kind of bet that I love to make and love to lose, you know, betting the guy I think is the better fighter, but then gets finished by, you know, a bit of a meme lord. Yeah, but it's just an easy spot for me to bet, you know. If Means does stand with him, it's going to be a horrible sweat. But if he goes in there and he's happy to work his way into the clinch and then start forcing some grappling, going for some takedowns, you know, I'm happy to lose money on this spot if that's the way it goes. I think there's a lot of value.
Yeah, I'm just sussing it now. It's quite good, man, decision. And I think it's going to get even better. Yeah, he's pretty reliable to grapple, man. Even when Price hurt him, first thing, straight onto the double, locked his hands, dumped him on his head, and then it was just piecing him up with the ground and pound.
Yeah, wrestling's good, man.
Yeah, underrated, man. Very
fighter,
underrated.
man. Yeah, he's a really good fighter.
Yeah, it's a shame about that durability, but like he's, what is he, like 38? It's going to go at some point.
Yeah.
And the meme gets thrown around a lot, man. But if anyone's a meme lord, it's fucking Kevin Holland, bro. That knockout of Jacare, fuck me. Like that's even that. When I played the over, I don't know why I played this when I was a casual. Played the over in the fluffy Holland fight, and he just runs through him with a knee to the body. I was like, what? It's just a scary guy to bet against, man. He's just meme. There's always a meme around the corner, like just some random karate shit, just coming from Kevin Holland, you know. Just
yeah. Minus 250 or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, you can't play him. I'm not. Yeah. It's just how brave are you, you know?
Brave enough. I think you don't need to overcomplicate it. Small bit.
Yeah. Nah, you know what? Looking at it now, man, he wasn't this good on Monday at the decision line, so yeah. I'm leaning. I'll probably be hitting that, man. Fuck it. All right. Co-main. I haven't retaped this. I taped it when it was originally booked. I don't like to retape fights when they get rebooked. I try to save some time. I'm very time poor, man. So I just went back to my notes. I remember I actually taped this fight twice. I taped this fight twice because it was the two retirement fights, OSP, Shogun, and then this fight. And I was like, all right, I see a lot of unders being thrown around for these two fights. So I'm like, I don't see it, but fuck it, it's a pay-per-view. Let's tape it twice. I want to find the angle that everyone else is finding. Because you know me, I hate my over-unders, especially after fucking last pay-per-view. Jesus Christ. I'm taping OSP Shogun. I'm like, nah, if anyone's going to get a knockout, it's OSP. Not worth it. Pass. If he doesn't get a knockdown, I can't rely on Shogun to knock him out. I take this, and I'm like, all right, fucking Lauzon round 1 KO, or he can get knocked out. But it's all on Cerrone, right? And I feel like the finish is a head kick. You know, how does Cerrone wins by finish? You know, other than submissions, it's he head kicks someone. Head kicks Matt Brown out of nowhere. I had the under there, looked over and done. Boom, head kick comes out of nowhere. You know, the Hernandez fight, you know, he was piecing him up, but he was never going to finish him until he actually landed that head kick, you know. It was just going to be a death by 1,000 cuts. And it's like, someone like Grutzmark, I hit Grutzmarker as a dog. They're one of my favorite players ever. He just keeps coming, man, and he just keeps coming. And he just won't stop. He won't give you a break. But Donald Cerrone is just going to stay on the outside, and he's going to leg kick you and TP you to the body. Occasionally going to blitz him with a 1-2-1. And, you know, one of the guys I really respect is like these retirement fights, they've always got a chance of becoming sparring fests. You know, two guys that don't fuck anymore. Just like OSP and Shogun, just no killer instinct from either guy. So I just ended up cashing out my unders. I just taping it twice. I'm still not confident enough. I have a little sprinkle on Lauzon round 1. If he doesn't get it, I'm not overly confident. I'm just playing the number here. How many people has he run through in round 1? I thought Cerrone was durable enough, but hey, Morono proved me wrong. So if Morono can knock you out in round 1, Joe Lauzon can. And I think there's a bit of an advantage with Lauzon being away for 2 years. He's coming back. Let's get fucking in there. Let's get Cerrone out of there in round 1. He's done some interviews saying he knows what he has to do. He knows Cerrone's a slow starter, shit like that. Lauzon's pretty reliable to be aggressive, man. He never has a different game plan. He knows he's going to gas and lose if he doesn't get the KO, and yet he still goes for it. So I have a little sprinkle on round 1 KO Lauzon. It's obviously quite good odds for his main condition of winning. And then if he doesn't get that, I feel like Cerrone just takes over, man. I think Cerrone's always been the better fighter. You look through Lauzon's career, and who's he beating? He's Diego Sanchez, Marcin Held, which was a robbery. Takanori Gomi. He's getting finished by Grutzmacher. Like even in his prime, man, like Clay Guida knocking him out, Stevie Ray beating him. It's just Evan Dunham dominating him. Arya Quinta knocking him out. It's just a cut over Chiesa, like that. He was going to lose that fight if he didn't get that cut from the elbows. I think Cerrone has always been proven, always been a ranked fighter in 2 divisions. If this gets out of the round, Cerrone's just going to pick him apart. Joe has no defense. So hopefully the round 1 KO hits, some good profit. Otherwise, I'll just be unloading on Cerrone, man. I'll be on live. If Cerrone wins by round 1 KO, then fuck it, it is what it is. I'm not willing to risk the under. But yeah, just a tiny sprinkle on Lauzon. You got anything on?
Yeah, same here. Lauzon round 1 KO. I think that is a very, likely outcome, to be honest, just because Lauzon reliable, come out hot. Cowboy just, sort of takes 7 minutes to even realize that he's in a fight half the time. I think that's where the betting value is. Money line wise, not interested because, Lauzon, don't know how much, win equity he holds outside round 1. Probably, I was going to say 7 minutes, but shit, it might even just be round 1, especially at this age. And then, Cerrone just such a slow starter, might get bombed out really early. And to be honest, I just get such a washed fighting for a paycheck vibe for Cerrone now. He just hasn't looked like he's wanted to be in there the last few times. So if I'm going to back him, I'd rather do it live. I'd let Lauzon spend his tank, wait and see if Cerrone actually looks like he wants to be there, and that he's going to be able to do what he should in rounds 2 and 3 before I get invested. So yes, really, really easy one to bet for me. Just the Lauzon early props. Hopefully they hit. If not, hopefully Cowboy shows some signs of life and he can take over down the stretch, and you get him at a better number live.
Yeah, I would seem to agree. It kind of reminds me of the Li Niang and Juarez fight, and a couple of weeks ago, or last week, where I just thought Juarez was the way better fighter, and if Lee was going to beat her, it was going to be by a round 1 submission. But then on tape, it's like, everyone, she's crap. She's not going to get an armbar. And then last minute, when he got to pick him, I'm like, oh man, my hand is forced. I'm playing, and then I played Juarez, and luckily I didn't lose. I couldn't play the under 2.5 because it was like under -200. But hindsight, should have hammered it. But yeah, it's like you want to. I can see Cerrone getting around 1 KO, but I think he's just a much better fighter. But it's like
could happen, yeah.
Yeah, I think Lauzon has a much better chance of KOing him in round 1 than Li Niang had a chance of submitting that 40-year-old chick with.
Yeah, man. At least Lauzon's going to go for it.
Oh, he's going to he's going to go, man.
And maybe that forces action out of Cerrone or something, but I mean that's generally not how we've seen him respond to that kind of fight in the past, he's generally shelled up and been happy to get finished a lot of times, and I'm not sure that's improving with age and the whole dad thing. And yeah, I don't know. I just have a feeling he's retirement fight for Cerrone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's about it anymore. Whereas Lauzon I think he's still the same guy. He's just old.
Yeah, Lauzon hasn't improved, but he's just been a high level of competition, just getting old. But let's move on. Let's go on to something else. All right, main event. Decent fight. Not sure how much value is on here. I've got a bit of a hot take, but I'll let you go first if you want.
Yeah, really good fight. But in terms of betting value, I think the betting line's probably about right. I got Kattar at minus 175, which I was pretty happy with. I tend to think Emmett is pretty KO or bust, but I can see him, it wouldn't shock me if he won 3 rounds just on big moments, because if he does have those big moments, Kattar is just stupidly durable and just might not go out from the big shots, So he does have a path to a decision there, but generally, I think Kattar's just a way better fighter. I think this plays out on the feet. I don't think Kattar's going to have too much interest in trying to wrestle. If Emmett does, I don't expect him to have much success. Emmett just super limited to me, mostly big single power shots, doesn't seem to have any real process or ability to build and put things together, whereas that's what Kattar's really good at. Everything builds off that jab. I thought, obviously looked amazing versus Giga. Kind of showed a few new wrinkles, I thought, as well. So I expect it to be competitive, but Kattar just to clearly outwork him behind the jab, stringing things together. Emmett's such a freak athlete, though, that I expect that to kind of keep him in the fight. He's always dangerous. The dude hits ridiculously hard, but I think the skill disparity here is just going to be a bit too much. I took a bit of Emmett ITD just because no difference between ITD and KO. Because I think most of the time he is going to be pretty reliant on finding that finish, which again I don't think is super likely versus a really durable guy like Kattar. But any chin can be cracked at some point. But yeah, for me, when I watch the tape, I see a massive skill gap. But yeah, excited to hear your hot take.
Yeah. So I don't know if I agree on it being accurate at this point. I mean, I would say Kattar should be the favorite. I don't know about this much of an insane favorite. I mean, I would probably just put him as this much of a favorite against some washed fighters like Fishgold or someone that is put out, or Stevens. I don't know, before everyone says Stevens knocked out Emmett. I think Emmett's just getting disrespected here quite a bit. Taping this, I was like, all right, I'm going to have no play, but let's tape it, because I tape every fight. Who knows what you're going to find. And it just came out thinking, you know what, I think Emmett has quite a bigger chance than the odds indicate. I think it's a little bit of a shuffle has happened. Kattar was getting disrespected against Giga, who was overrated. He stole his thunder, and now Emmett's getting disrespected by Kattar, who I think is a bit overrated. I personally don't think Kattar really sits he. What's the word I'm trying to say? He doesn't put stamps on rounds, other than landing a big 1-2 that puts people out. He starts slow. He doesn't return when he gets backed up. He shells up, and he eats shots on his guard. In that Ige fight, he completely controlled that fight, or he gave the illusion that he could completely control the fight, and 2 judges gave 2 rounds to Ige. One judge. Because he just, in round 2, he had 1 shot, he hurt his nose, and he just didn't throw for the rest of the fight. And Ige, I think Ige is a much worse fighter than Emmett. I know that fight was somewhat close, but Ige always fights for his money, fights for your money. I think in that Giga fight, he was lucky to get a takedown early. I was passing on that, waiting for a live bet. As soon as he got the takedown, I just unloaded on Kattar. He was like, pick him. I'm like, dude, that was the only round the Giga was going to win before gassing, and now he lost it by getting wrestled. Giga was an absolute zombie from round 2 onwards. He landed a couple of shots because, again, Kattar doesn't throw back. He just absorbs everything. right? There's no counters. He just shells up, eats a body kick, eats a head kick. The line jumped up to pick him again. I chucked another 1,000 on Kattar. I was like, man, these lines are crazy. It's going to be round 3-4 Kattar from here. The fact that he didn't finish him is just embarrassing. Like, Giga was literally a zombie. He could barely get back to his corner. And then somehow he survived round 3, 4, 5 and then had a bit of a fight back in round 5. And all Kattar was doing was just throwing jabs and elbows. He seems to love spinning elbows now. And it's like, just sit down on a 1-2 and put this guy out. Like, thank God I didn't have a finish. Like, luckily I've already learned the hard way why I hate over-unders and finish props. Had to get reminded on the weekend, but that's all right. And he just couldn't put him away. And I was like, man, yeah, you won every round, but you should have put him out of there, make a bigger statement. And just, the guy can barely walk around the octagon. And that's the thing. I mean, you see another fighter like Burgos consistently in his face with jabs and 1-2. Burgos has almost 5 inches of reach on Kattar, by the way, and he's also throws straight punches, much bigger guy. Yes, he gives up quite a lot of defense compared to Kattar, maybe even durability. I would say both have insane durability. I think Burgos gets dropped just because he just has literally no defense. Like, his hands are by his waist, whereas Kattar actually has a high guard all the time. Let's say first round comes out, Kattar's going to be staying on the outside. Emmett actually stays on the outside a lot. So he's really good at closing the distance. Kattar was just still eating shots from a gassed Giga. Like, he was pressuring him, and he would still eat shots. Obviously, he didn't respect him. He didn't think he was going to get knocked out. But it's like, man, why don't you block that? Why don't you counter him? Why don't you put him out? Why are you just pressuring him and eating shots on your head? Like, have some defense. Like, he's obviously hasn't improved his defense since the Max Holloway fight. I unloaded on Max in that fight too. That line was crazy. I was a bit nervous Kattar would land a big 1-2. He didn't even land that over 5 rounds. And I think he's just going to pressure Emmett, but he's a lot less aggressive like Burgos. If he keeps pressuring Emmett, he's going to be obviously always in the pocket. In that Burgos fight, Emmett was really good at at ducking the jab and throwing it overhands, like parrying it or pull countering it. So he's not just standing there eating the jab. He's actually always countering. Kattar's obviously not going to sit on his punches. He's going to pick and prod. How close are these rounds going to be? One big shot on the guard. Texts his judges, oh, yep, that's a round to Emmett. All right. He might come aggressive. If he comes out aggressive, Kattar's definitely going to lose that round, like in the Stevens fight. He just backs up. I just think Emmett's getting a bit underrated. He's tough. I mean, he did his knee in the beginning of that Burgos fight. It was an absolute war, and he just toughed it out. He could have won all 3 rounds, in my opinion. With a compromised knee. He's a bit old, yes. I think he's tough. Even in that when he first made it to the UFC, that John Tuck fight at lightweight, he completely dislocated his pinky, and he was just circling around for the rest of round 3 and 1. You see if these days people fall over and break their finger, and the ref calls it an end to a fight. But he just hit it from the referee, like circling out. I don't know. I think we might have a war on our hands here, a 5-round war, where Kattar is not really putting a stamp on any rounds. He's just jabbing. He's jabbing, or eating the bombs on his guard because he likes to show his durability. Yes, maybe Emmett gets 1 or 2. If he drops him, if anyone's going to drop Kattar, it's going to be Emmett. But I'm not relying on the KO here. Yeah, KO is a bonus, but after tape, I just thought, yeah, I wasn't impressed with his Giga performance, even though I had money on him there. I think I'm impressed with Emmett's toughness and durability. He got wobbled in the Ige second round, but that was a headbutt, and he still ended up on his feet. I just think we get a war, man. Kattar is not someone that's going to run through Emmett. I think they might be on a similar level here. Honestly, I think Emmett just absolutely destroys Giga. If he ever fights Giga Chikadze, he just runs through Giga. Giga is so overrated, man. He got a bit lucky with his run.
I agree on that. Yeah, Giga's massive fraud.
I think he's going to get a bit more exposed now as he's in the ranking now, and he's fighting people not like Barboza. Yeah, I think they're pretty much on the same level. Maybe Kattar 1 level up because he fought someone like Max Holloway, and Emmett has improved himself against someone like that. But yeah, I think should be a relatively even fight, man. And I don't think Kattar's going to do anything in that round 1. He never does. I think that the odds are going to narrow, and I'm just going to hedge I'll have half a unit on Emmett, and I'm just going to hedge it live. They're going to start swinging. I think he's the people that are shitting on his stand-up, it's a bit overrated. His stand-up's not bad. Yeah, he throws a lot of hooks. I mean, it fucking works for him. Like, how many KOs he has. But he just closes distance so well. Like, you don't see, he circles on the outside, He's got really good distance management. And if you come in to jab him, if you come in to throw an overhand, he's going to get there first, man. And he's going to land the bomb on your chin before you land on his. He throws a sneaky head kick. Just a very athletic guy, man. Very athletic guy. You can't corral him. You can't corner him. That Michael Johnson fight was a bit worrying, right? But, man, Michael Johnson, shit on him all you want, but his hand speed and his combinations compared to Kattar, who's just like jab, 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 1-2, jab. Eat a big bomb on the guard. No counters, no finishing instincts. He's just in there always sparring, you know. Well, Michael Johnson was just countering, and Emmett was coming off that big knockout against Stevens and still got a KO with like 30 seconds to go. So the guy's never out of a fight. He can land a KO round 3, round 4. Yeah, it's not like the biggest. It kind of reminds me of the Vieira Holly Holm fight. It's just like, yeah, Holly Holm has all the advantages. She's got the cardio, she's got the cage push, she's got the chin, but he's just wide, man. He's just wide. I don't see how she covers it. I don't see how Kattar covers this unless he lands a 1-2 down a pipe and puts Emmett out in round 1 or 2 somehow. So yeah, that's my hot take, man. I've been banging on about it. I'm not just saying it's dog or pass. I've actually got half a unit on Emmett. So I thought he would get more wide, but lines come back a bit. So
no, fair enough, man. No, I think you make some good points, and yeah, I can definitely see the angle of, you know, betting Emmett because yeah, Kattar starts slow, and you probably have a good chance to hedge it live. So yeah. I can definitely see where you're coming from there.
I think we're just in for a fucking sick fight, man, and a bit of a potentially a 5-round war, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. I think everyone who's betting like finish props and stuff are gonna probably be pissed off. It definitely smells like one of those insane war GTDs.
Yeah, that's definitely a pass for me, man. That's a fight that I would never bet the under just because I can see a 5-round war, man. Like I could see it in the Glover Jiri as well, and I said, look, so be it. If I never play 3 units on these kind of props, but if I get burnt, I get burnt. And if I get burnt, it's going to be exactly what happened on the weekend. Takedowns, mount, fucking look for stupid subs instead of ground and pounding, hurt him, throw a knee instead of finishing him, shit like that. And this fight, I'm not actually taking that risk. This fight, I could see a 5-rounder. Anyone that couldn't finish Giga in that fight, man, I'm not risking the under bet on him. Like, Kattar's not going to fight for my finish, man. It's not. Josh Emmett might, but yeah.
I kind of disagree on that. I think Kattar will try to finish, but Emmett is tough, man.
Kattar will try to finish if he's 3 rounds down, like in the Zabit fight. But if he's cruising and he thinks he's up, like in the Ige fight,
yeah,
and
true.
He's just like, if I jabbed him up, he'll just coast, man. He'll coast.
Yeah, fair. I think, yeah, probably a good chance, actually. He wants to string some wins together.
He doesn't take too many risks.
Yeah, and you're not gonna swing with a guy like Emmett. You know, that just doesn't make any sense.
No, it's good, man. It was a good pod. You wanna recap some of your favorite plays, or?
Yeah.
What do you got for me, man? So I can copy it, so I can tell you I make some money.
Well, obviously we'll go with just whatever's still available at current lines. In terms of what I kind of feel the most convicted about, I'd say the Yanez Kelly over Guram. Yeah, those are probably my 2 favorites. And then ones that I like a bit less would be, well, I guess it's not something to go crazy on, but yeah, like the Lauzon early props, just because I feel like those are so close to his money line, you know, that so much of his win equity is in that first round. So that Lauzon round 1, round KO. And then, but yeah, like I think it could be a really chalky card, but I'm still going to take a lot of little shots on big numbers that I think have value, like the Means money line and decision, Buckley money line. Scrolling through the Chavez money line. Chavez by decision is pretty crazy number as well, really. Like Ramos is flaky, but I do think a Chavez decision is more likely than a Chavez finish because the guy's just fucking limited, you know.
I personally wouldn't risk it with someone like Ramos that would just turn around and tap 2 strikes or some shit like that.
You're definitely split between the money line and decision. You wouldn't put it all on decision. The way I always do it with underdogs, there's nothing more fucking annoying than betting an underdog to win by decision and they finish. And then other than that, it's just a lot of potential live betting between, you know, guys like Winn, Court McGee. Those are probably the ones that really, really stick out. Cerrone, but just the thought of betting Cerrone leaves a pretty bad taste in the mouth, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a real chalky card, you know, and just a lot of big favourites win. So, I don't have any big plays this weekend, just quite a lot of small plays, really.
It feels like it, man. It feels like a chalky card. Honestly, I my favourite is the round 3 decision with Kelly as well. It's pretty much an over. I just seeing that, I'm like, that's not right. And then it just never changed. It's just people think there's going to be a finish, which blows my mind. I think that's just an inaccurate line. So I'm happy to lose money on over-under again this week, just because I think that's just a good bet.
Yanez finishing is so overrated, and the guy's really not fought good competition at all. You know, Davey Grant's the only decent guy he's fought.
Yeah, and he didn't even get close to finishing. And that guy has no defense whatsoever or cardio. So, and my other play is just the decision or submission Daukaus, because, man, I got plus money on it. It's like...
That's a good bet, yeah.
He's just fade on Roman. And if he gets his first... He's got like 1 KO even on the regionals. So this guy, Daukaus, can't even KO bums, man. So if he ends up KOing... I don't even know what a KO looks like against Roman. So... Happy with that.
Weird cut injury thing or something.
Yeah, shit that's burned me before, but it is what it is. Other than that, small sprinkles like you, man. I don't know how much. I don't really love the lows on round 1, but it's just like it's got such a high chance of hitting. You got to play it, you know, for numbers' sake. I'll just have some small plays. You got any PFL plays before we go? I did that yesterday.
Oh yeah, let me pull it up. So probably my biggest one is Schultz. I got him at like a pick'em, and I can see that it's really sort of taken off from there. I've seen a lot of money's been coming in on him, so
that's a good line.
Yeah, at least I got options now. I think he really just didn't look himself in that first fight, you know, and I thought he looked really good against OEM. And Howard, I think, is kind of trending in the opposite direction. I don't think he's looked that great lately. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I got a little bit of Shaman Moraes dog money. I mean, how can you not fade Lance Palmer after his last fight if he goes in there and doesn't attempt a single takedown again? And I've got Shaman at plus money. Fine with it.
Next week, I kind of like that too.
Oh, I'm on the wrong card.
That's all right. I was eyeing that off as well.
There we go. This is the one we're after. Oh, it's tomorrow. Bloody hell. I think Hamlet's a bit wide. Hard to trust a guy who's obviously really gassy and stuff. I thought he looked a bit better last time, albeit fighting a not very good guy. But I just don't agree with having Silveria as such a big favorite for a guy who's so green and inexperienced. I think both guys are primarily grapplers, so I think the over 1.5 is pretty good as well. Same thing, I like over 1.5 for Wilkinson and Pester, and also think Pester is a bit wide. Obviously, really disappointing versus Amari, but Rob Wilkinson minus 300 is just absolutely insane. Sorty, Monte, pass. I've got Schultz overheld. Yeah, I think that goes to like a Schultz. Schultz does this thing to a Schultz decision. Amari versus Theodoros. Yeah, no real strong feelings there. Stevens should run Price over. Houch Manfio, interesting one. I should probably take my own advice here. At the moment, I've only got his decision prop at plus 325, which is just insane. Like compared to the money, how is his decision prop like north of plus 300? That's crazy, you know. I think he can get a competitive decision out of the fight. It's the volume, like it always is with Manfio. He can probably defend the takedowns, I think. But he's just not going to let himself get outworked. Inevitably, it'll go to a split. Hopefully, he gets it, but that price is nuts to me. And then I've got a bit of the shoe face KO. Had it last time at like double the price. I think it's like plus 400-500 or something here. Had it at like ridiculous prices last time. He sparks the guy and then submits his corpse. Really annoying. Could have just stood up and the dude would have been dead. And then main event, no action. I do think Collins is the side, but the line's a bit wide. I do think he wins, but that's a pass for me. So yeah, probably Schultz, Manfio, especially by decision, big value, and then some stabs, shoe face KO. Wilkinson, Pesta over, Hamlet, Silvera overs. And I think the GTDs in both of those are pretty wide, especially Hamlet, Silvera, because I could just see them grappling, and neither having enough of an edge to dominate and finish the other guy. I know Hamlet's gassy, he's untrustworthy, but Silvera's a young, green guy, And then I wouldn't be surprised if Wilkinson slows down, and because Pesta's just not got much urgency, just kind of coasts down the stretch, and that goes the distance as well. They're big numbers, it's like plus 200 on the GTD for Hamlet Silvera, plus 250 on the GTD for Wilkinson Pesta. I think those are pretty wide. What about you?
Yeah, at the moment I just have a play on Manfia. I think it's just he's getting an easier matchup than Don Marge, and he's still
I should have lost that though. Fuck, I lost money on Don Marge. That was annoying. Yeah,
I'm glad that I didn't get the early lines, because I was like, this is a hopeful matchup for Manfia. But this one isn't. This is
it's better. Yes, definitely better.
Yeah, he needs to grapple. He needs to strike. His striking is not amazing. He's one shot single striker from distance. That's Manfia's game. You're gonna go to shot for shot with a guy that's been winning decisions and stealing decisions with that style. And I don't think OAM's chin is amazing. I mean, at one point he's gonna make a mistake, but yeah, I just thought even if it's a split decision, I think that's wide. Massive wide there. That's my only official, but I just got odds man being they've just fucking graced me with 4 props on the main card in Melbourne. I usually get fuck all props, so I'm just kind of going through them. I'm probably going to pass on Pesta. I was going to do like a quarter unit, but I just taping the guy from some guy on KSW tomorrow. He broke Pesta's jaw, man. He doesn't hit hard at all. Just something. Even Wilkinson is so overrated. It's something he can do in round 1. So I'm just fucking Pesta's so flaky, man. He hates getting hit. So maybe I just don't waste my money. I wish I had live bet on prelims, but I don't. Jeremy Stevens, I'm actually just in the process of chucking a bet, man. Jeremy Stevens by finish is plus money, man. Plus money.
Wow.
Yeah, Unibet, it's $2 for KO, which, man, that's gonna hit. I'll be honest, it's never been KO'd, but Jeremy Stevens, he's gonna plot into the pocket with Jeremy Stevens. Good luck. The bombs that Collard ate, I don't see this guy eating them. And finish is 5 cents.
Did he end up making weight? I saw that he's shaving all his hair and that. Did he end up making it?
As well. His feet were on the edge of the scale. He had half a foot on each side, and the commission missed it. So yeah, it was definitely that, not shaving his hair that helped him. And so finish is $1.95, KO is $2. So just in case he gets a sub, I mean, I'm gonna hit that for half a unit, and then if this guy survives Jeremy Stevens bombs, I mean, good luck, man. Emmett couldn't do it. Choi couldn't do it. Carlos Jr., I thought about the under 1.5. It's under. It's less than minus 200. I mean,
yeah, it's not.
Soto, I think Soto is less bummy than the last guy, the junior.
Yeah, definitely. He's way better than Monte. And if they end up grappling, I could see Soto surviving for a little bit.
Yeah, that's my problem. If it's there's going to be no brawls where he gets hurt, and if he's just on the bottom getting dominated with grappling, he might get extended in like a late sub. And then Collard, I think Martinez is the side, so I'm just looking at these props now. I'm just kind of playing around with maybe Martinez by decision. It's almost $4. It's quite a decent odds. If he's going to win, he's going to be grappling based. He's not knocking out Collard. I don't think he's going to submit him either. Jalton Lutenbach had that Had Das on Collard deep early, which is like his best sub, and Collard stayed calm, got out of it.
His grappling defense has gotten a lot better. He's still a bit loose positionally, like you can get positions on him, but he's scrambly, and his late stage defense is better than it used to be.
He's definitely not trustworthy at this line though, and it's he had a plotting punching bag in Stevens. They ended up gassing in round 1, and this is just going to be, Martinez is going to be running away from him. Whenever Collard comes in, he's going to get kicked, or he's just going to shoot for a double. Martinez is very reliable to consistently shoot over and over again. Even if he gets hurt, he's durable. And even when he loses, man, he's losing clear decisions to Schulte and then to Loic Radzimov. And he's going to split decisions and getting wins. So it's like, this is going to be a fucking split decision, man, unless Collard sparks him. Or like, even if he hurts him, man, Collard hurt Rausch Manfio with body shots and took him down and still ended up losing a decision. So
yeah, Collard's IQ can be a bit sus at times. Yeah,
he's in there for a fucking brawl, man. He's in there for a fun fight. And if you don't give him a boxing fight, you mix it up to all the MMA aspects. This is sweaty. So probably hit a little bit on Martinez as well.
Yeah, I don't think you can just be in the business of paying much juice in the PFL either, because just weird shit happens in PFL, like the short turnarounds between fights. Guys always randomly have total duds of performances. It happens every year. So yeah, you definitely can't be in the business of like laying juice in PFL, I feel.
No, I mean I've made bank on it. You can if they fucking set up the
you have the squash matches. Yeah, I play the round 1 props there, like last with your Brunos and your Henan Ferreiras and all those.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that could have been even better night if I didn't pussy out on Pacheco versus that bum. And I was so scared of over-unders.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Pacheco money train.
But those are the things that I absolutely take advantage of PFL. It's like just it's not like Bellator. Bellator, they give their prospects, quote marks, they give their prospects easy wins, and then their prospects just get upset all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like trap lines. Whereas here it's like ex-UFC fighters still in their prime, and they actually give them bums like just to run like for easy 6 points in the season and shit. Like Miles, Price. Like why is Price in the season? Like he's
that's true. I think you just got to identify the spots. You see, like the heavier weight classes and the women. That's where you get those like freebie spots.
Yeah. Anyway, man, we're almost hit 2 hours. Fucking nice and long. Hopefully, people don't tune out halfway through. Thanks for joining me, man. That was good. We actually we agree a lot more on camera. Maybe it's just the way we talk on Discord.
Couple keyboard warriors.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. Thanks for joining me. I'll probably have you on some other time.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Have a good one. See you, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow for some KSW. Let me know if you got some plays.
Yeah, I'll sit back and tape a bit. I'll see you later, man.
See you, buddy.
Catch up.